Hey everybody, it is Mike over here at Growtopia. Look at these beautiful asparaguses. Now, I didn't post a video last weekend. So today is Monday, July 20th. It's about 80 degrees, about 1 in the afternoon. I didn't post a video last weekend because last week in New York we were suffering smoke from the Canada wildfires that were creeping down. We were dealing with them Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday was probably felt like the worst day. So I didn't want to get outside huffing and puffing and breathing in more chemicals than I really don't need. So I called it off. I stayed inside the house and focused on researching and doing other things. But it's nice out. It's beautiful. The sun's back up. The skies are blue again. The air smells a lot better. So let's get back to growing. So this is my status of my asparagus. Let me get on the inside here. It makes things a little easier. Okay. So our asparagus are looking very good. Our lettuces and our romaines are looking very good. I just watered our carrots, and I just watered also the beets on top. And if I look underneath, I could see a few beets are starting to pop up. I'm going to give this probably one more day or two, and then I'm going to take the covering off, and I'm going to lightly mulch it so that they can still keep coming through. Nothing's come up from the carrots yet. So you can see how the heads are a little higher because I just actually manually watered them. Now the watering system out here goes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for everybody. And you can see I also filled in the beds. Now last week's plan was to do the corn bed, but these were sitting in the nursery. They got to go out before they die, even if things look bad, like my raspberry here. It kind of looks like it died off a little bit. That's fine. This is a raspberry shortcake. So what I did was when I planted them, I made sure that they were all in line with the soaker hoses so they get their water. So this right here is a blackberry Apache. This one over here, this is the blueberry bed now. We have a blueberry here. We have a Brussels berry. It's a pink icing blueberry that's pink. And then we also have another one it's a shorebird. Brussels and Berry, which is the name of the company. It's a pink shorebird high bush, and they all grow to about 3 to 4 feet high. I know it looks a little kind of cramped together because they are going to go a little bit big. They're going to grow bigger and they're going to get together, but I wanted to get them in here, get them out here, because the next thing for this beds is the covers that get put over. I also did is I readjusted the sprinkler line. All I did was pop off the old line, and I just extended a bigger line so that I could put the covers over them because they go straight down to the ground. Same thing like I did on this one. Over here is my strawberry bed. Now, it's not a strawberry, it's a cranberry. And you're wondering, well, how could you grow a cranberry when they grow in bogs? Well, this one is a Stevens cranberry, and it can actually survive in moist soil. One of the perks about growing in these elevated raised beds is that they retain the moisture a lot better. One of the things I noticed, even though it watered today, and it only watered for this section here for 5 minutes is all this section gets. 5 minutes of watering from the soaker hose, 5 minutes of water sprays onto the tree. When I was digging down to put them in there was a lot of nice, good moisture. It wasn't soggy and it wasn't dry, but it was nice and moist, which is perfect for all of these berry bushes, especially for the Stevens cranberry. Of course, I dressed them up in the straw mulch, which honestly I would say is my favorite mulch of choice. I've noticed it keeps the birds and the squirrels out, which are phenomenal. I don't know if the squirrels just don't like the smell of it, if they don't like the way it feels on their body, not really sure. I laid the mulch down and I gave it a light watering just so that it levels it out a little bit better, kind of tamps it down. But that's basically what we got going on right now for Monday. I'm not doing anything else. I just wanted to get these out here. Took a matter of a couple seconds. Every plant, I think altogether, probably took maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes for all the plants, because they're going into beds that are allocated. We got the raspberry, the blueberry, the strawberry, and the cranberry over there, because we only have one strawberry coming. And the reason why I put the mulch down was because the strawberry is not coming until October, and it's only July. So I want to make sure the mulch is down. It'll help keep the soil cooler, plus it'll also help retain the moisture as well, plus also being in the bed as well. Now, of course, what we had was thunderstorms and lightning the other day. So I think that was Sunday. Yeah, Sunday night we had this. Sunday literally rain. Saturday. Saturday, it started raining around 12 o'clock, and it went until past 10 o'clock. I came out here, and all of the little leaves were screaming high up in the air on Sunday morning. I pulled out all the drains, and I let them all drain for a good 3 hours. I came out, they were all done draining. I closed them all back up, and that's it. And then they get watered Monday morning. So it's nice that it retains the water, and obviously the plants are loving it. I absolutely have no issues at all. The lettuces, I've never had lettuce grow and romaines grow this good in an open space. They get plenty of sunlight, they got plenty of airflow, and they're growing phenomenally. I mean, I haven't had them grow like this ever in my life. And the same thing with the asparagus. The asparagus is loving that it's got a bed all to itself. The same thing with the lettuce. The best way of doing is segregating them like this, because each one has an allocated bed for them to grow in, and they don't have to compete with other plants. Like, for an example, like the jalapenos are doing really good, to the point where I'm actually getting some jalapeno growth. You can see the jalapeno back there. I don't want to touch it. It might get a little spicy. But there's another one right there, and this one is getting longer. If you take a look at it from the other side, you can actually see how much longer my jalapeno's getting. Pretty cool. And it was small just the other day. My tomatoes that I started from seed are doing very good. They're doing very good on their own. I'm very happy to see that they're doing well. They're doing a lot better than they were. They looked a little wishy-washy. And even the peppers, without the cages, the giant Marconi peppers, these things haven't started producing peppers yet, but hopefully they will shortly. And eventually there'll be another project going on once all the bed is done, and I can finally take a breather, and I can get myself a little chair, and I can sit out here and stare at my plants, stare at my potatoes that are starting to come out. We already saw them already. I think there's another one right here, just about. See the little green leaf right there popping up, and hopefully we'll start getting along. Cabbages we're going to start a little later in the season, and that's about it. And it's great. It's a great growing location that I've always had. And the biggest thing is that they're not competing with plants and weeds and vines, and they're not on the ground. So I think that they might actually do a little bit better without the pest infestations, because they're not on the ground. They're elevated, and the ground is completely covered over with weed fabric and also the artificial turf, which looks even better than it did when I first laid it down. So I'm really excited. I love the way it works. The water there's no, like, when it was raining hard, I look at my camera and I go, wow, it's not really ponding out there. It's draining very nicely. So that was also a plus too. But stay tuned, keep watching. And all we're going to do next is the covers on it for this week. And that's it. And then next week, we're going to do the peppers, the corn bed, which I'm working on some ideas with that on how I'm going to do that. And then it's going to be the 2 trellises here and the herb. That might take a weekend, that might take 2 weeks. I don't really want to rush it. And then the following, when everything is done, will be the next project that has nothing to do with restarting the homestead. I kept calling it the homestead, the garden, the farm. I call it everything under the sun. I know the terminology might not be 100% correct with everybody, but I mean, this is where I get all my produce from. So, and I'm done buying stuff from stores. We've established that, we're not going to buy anything. If we don't have it and we're not growing it, we don't eat it. Simple as that. You stay safer that way. Plus, you spend enough money on it, you might as well enjoy it and eat what you're growing. All right, let's keep going. Good morning, everybody. It's July 25th at 7 o'clock in the morning. I've woken everybody up. They're still asleep. Not my problem. Time to get up. Rooster's crowing. Time to get going. That's what I always say. Anyway, so today, my plan for the rest of this weekend, it's going to be nice. It's 70 degrees right now. It's about 7:30 in the morning. This weekend's going to be in the 70s. It's great. So, with that being said, I'm going to be putting on the covers for this. I knew I forgot something. I forgot my hammer and my box of mini pieces of crap. But anyway, so we're going to be putting the covers. I'm going to be putting the covers on both of these beds, the 3 beds here. What it is, it's a bunch of pipes, kind of like we did with the cages. and then there's a netting that goes over it that has a zipper entrance. So what's great is the pipes stay up for the winter and the netting comes down, which is why I also changed the way that the sprinkler line went. So originally it floated across. Well, obviously it went down, over, and up. So, and it doesn't affect the watering at all, because these beds, what's great about them versus anything else is that they retain the water. They retain the water, so I don't have to, come on, just fly fucking faster for crying out loud. So, it's so fucking annoying, airplane drone sometimes. So like sometimes the big jets, they just go straight. You get like the stupid puddle jumpers. Come on. How do you fly that? That noise has got to be annoying as hell. You know? At least with my army truck, you know, I can get away from the sound. The sound's going past them. Whatever. When you fly, people get upset when I say shit. So anyway, so it's going to go down, up, and over. What's great is, oh, that's right. So plane made me forget what I was saying. So the beds hold water. They retain water, which is very great. All you got to do is just not drown your bed. That's all you got to do. So it's really not hard to keep stuff watered. It's actually harder with these beds not to overwater. But you really can't overwater if you have a brain. Now, I know a lot of people are watching this going, oh, right away, he's got to go for the insults. No, seriously. If you don't have a brain and you're stupid, you shouldn't be doing this, period. Okay? The reason why I say that is because they give you so many different things to help you not overwater your bed. For starters, if you look up on the internet, you find out that a plant only needs 1 inch or 2 a week. You take a little container that has the measurements on it. There's ones that you can get from like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, or, you know, any other type of item. You figure out like what 1 inch of water is to ounces or gallons or feet or metrics, whatever you want to call it. Shot glasses, wine glasses, beer bottles, you know, whatever you use as a measurement. But you can get your little plastic containers that you would use for multiple different things, and it will tell you inches on them as well. You take that container and your water source goes into that container, and you calculate how long it took for that to happen. I learned it's 5 minutes, even then that's pushing it. With this setup, with the solid hose in between, and the bed gets a full soaker hose that runs across. And you might look at it and be like, well, Mike, you're only watering the middle of the bed. You're not watering the edges. You don't need to turn this into a bathtub. Water has to be in here somewhere, right? So water's going to go down, and it's going to collect on the bottom. I'm answering everybody's questions that I've seen and people have asked. So if you're one of those people watching, pay attention. Water collects on the bottom, and then the water stays. There's a layer of it. The whole thing on the layer has water in it. Now, it doesn't look like there's water in it, because this guy doesn't really make it look like it. Makes it look like it's dry, right? So you check your valve. At any time that you think that your beds don't have water in them, you can do a very simple check. You pull back. Well, you wouldn't have this, you know, unless you were smart. So I'd say get this to be smarter. This little rug device that I've come up with. You can see where it's stringy on top. A little bit stringy, but it's still pretty solid on the bottom. That's how you want to lay these things. You can also lay them the other way too, where the strings are on the bottom and the hardness is on top, but it doesn't really matter. They're cut to fit. You look under it and you dig down, and you go through your mulch and you dig down into the soil, and you'll find out if it's moist or not. Also, you can tell by your plants. I mean, look at the romaines and the lettuce that are in here. So we got lettuce right here. Zoom in so you guys can take a look at it better. Look at all the leafy greens. There is no filtering on this camera. Okay, these is exactly what you see. Like we got the red. Look at this. Look how beautiful this is. How it's starting. And you know what's great when I eat this? I'm not going to have explosive diarrhea, because I wash my hands. I don't poop in my beds, and I don't try to poison myself. Anyway, so when they water it, it does a little area, and then that water runs down through the bed, and then all the roots from all the different plants are going down, and they find the water source. As long as you keep up with keeping an eye on your height of this, which is why I said you want to go out here a lot, Don't want to go out here every so often. Go out here every day. Also, different zones take a little bit on more little water, such as my peppers and my tomato zone. They're going to take on more water than these guys would, but not by much. Not by much. Even like here, for like the cranberry, right? It says moist. This one's a Stevens cranberry, but it said moist soil. It didn't say soggy, didn't say wet, didn't say bug. It said moist soil is what it said. And when I was digging down there, I found moist soil. I'm like, boom, this would be perfect for it. It's actually really also interesting too, is the bees had completely annihilated my catmint. And it's nice, it grew back in the center. So, you know, I could always, in case anybody was ever wondering, with my catmint, it's literally just one plant. I could trim this as much as I want, and it's just going to keep growing back new life in the center of it. Is how this thing keeps growing. Anyway, so I got stuff to take off the beds, like the carrots. We'll see like what has sprouted, what has not sprouted. Every day I've been going out watering them so they're nice and saturated. You can see that the carrot seeds, little carrot heads have popped up, so that's cool. The other one that has life growing in it is my bed with the radishes in it, my beet bed, but there's radishes in it. And you could see how the cover trick worked too. Now we just got to take this cover off and keep it off. And the reason why is because now we have leaf growth, and the plant itself needs some sunlight now. Now it needs sunlight. See, before it didn't. So I'm going to get containers, put all this stuff in, because each bed is going to have its own specific covering. So now that it's having this going on it, and they're popping out of the soil, and they got leafy tops on them, now they need the sunlight. So that's that. Here is our potato. Let's take a photo for somebody quick. So this is how they're looking as they're coming out of the ground. And for some reason on this bed, I've been seeing like the little green grassy thingies. Like, here's another one. So I just go down there and pluck it out. There's the seed. Off you be. So it could be just luck of the draw. My raspberry shortcake, this will most likely come back, hopefully. I don't know why it died off inside the house, but it did. That does happen from time to time. I'd say don't, give up on stuff. Make sure you just you don't overly freak out. It's hard not to sometimes, but what I've learned with some of these bushes, like the blueberries and the raspberries, they die off and then they come back right away. So, or they come back eventually. Like this one was fine. Something happened to it when I was working out here and I accidentally stepped on it, and like half the plant died. So it's fine. It'll come back next year. I'm not worried about it. I'm not sitting over here crying over here about spilled milk. I have some flowers on my jalapenos. You can see that right there. And then I have a jalapeno over here, which is about that size to my thumb, which I know is really not a great use of measurement, but I'm an average white guy at 5'9". I really don't have big hands, but I also don't have girly hands either. So, great way to describe myself. I don't have big hands, but I don't have girly hands either. You can see my tomatoes. These were my seeded tomatoes that I seeded myself. Somehow the tag has walked away. You see how this is getting bigger? So I don't even have the string. Remember the string? Pain in the ass string? I'm not even stringing it anymore. I'm literally like hooking the clipping it to the plastic. So you could tell, like this tomato plant right here, I'm gonna have to grab some more of these parts and go up. I'm gonna have to go up regardless, but I'm doing it piece by piece, because this is gonna have to get up a little higher, which is funny, because I was even thinking to myself, I might have to get like a little step stool, like a little ladder stool, or build a ladder and put it on the back sides of the tomatoes that can reach the top of the tomato plants, because even though I'm 5'9", I'm still vertically declined. because I can't reach things that are above my head when I grow things that grow 15 feet tall. I get to master that. You can see how they're coming in. They're looking really good compared to what they looked like a while ago. And what's funny is I did realize, like, with the way this bed is, I mean, I know they get really bushy, but I could literally stick a tomato on this side, and I could stick a tomato on that side. And I could run one tomato up here, I could run one tomato plant up there, so it gives enough breathing room in between. And then on this one here, I could run a tomato here and a tomato there, and that gives enough breathing room for all the plants. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm really loving the way it came out. So we're over at our peppers over here, our giant Marconis, and so little tiny guy right there. So that's good. It's a good sign. You can see another little tiny guys right in there. So I'm excited. I forgot to bring food for my birds, so I gotta grab that. I gotta grab some other stuff from inside, so I gotta grab food for the birds. So this is gonna get mulched. And then the carrots, we're gonna mulch this one as well. So I started seeing, I'm about to sneeze. Yes, I'm a manly man on camera. I started seeing some of this germination about, what's today? So today's Saturday, so Thursday I started seeing germination out here, so that was good. So I know once these guys get to this height, it's time to really kind of start planning your next direction, what you're going to go with your carrots. Now, beets are the same way. So when I come through this bed to mulch them, I want to make sure that I'm very careful. Now, here's one thing that I have come across, and honestly, I hope it's going to work for you guys as well. Unless it's just me, because I know there's no way. We got 10 squirrels that are on my whole property, from the front yard on the other side of the fence to all of back here. I have at least 10 squirrels. They're living up in this tree here, and then they got a giant nest in my holly tree. And I try to feed them peanuts. They get the bird food and stuff up front. They got these corn cobs that are like compressed corn that are on a cob that's on a rod. There's a cob on a rod? What? On a rod, not on rob. Oh God. I'm getting in trouble now. But they'll take a while for them to chew it off, and then they get the cakes, which I got to fill back here as well for the birds back here, because I get catbirds back here, so I give them all the catbird stuff that they like: berries, nuts, peanut butter, you know, different shit like that. But anyway, what I was getting at is that I don't have any disturbances in the beds with the straw mulch. I don't know if they don't like the smell of it. I don't know if they don't like the feel of it. I also use this stuff called squirrel repellent, which I'll show you guys. I know I keep telling you I'm going to show you. I never show you. And then I watch my video after I edit it all. I'm like, I forgot to show them. Before I show you that, let me show you what we got in what's left of the sun house, the shade house. The shade house still has a little lettuce by itself, which I didn't even know was in here. Funny. Is that lettuce or a weed? Kind of looks like a weed. It's hard to tell. But there's a green zebra in here all by itself, getting somewhat watering. So I'm actually going to be pulling that out, and I'm going to be putting it in the garden. Oh, there's a little tiny bunny rabbit. I don't know if anybody caught that thing was like that big. I thought it was a rat. It was a little tiny bunny rabbit. That was cute. Oh, that's what's making the holes. But anyway, this is Dr. Emmett Brown. Alright, we doing with the time machine. So I'm going to take out those two tomato plants, and I'm going to put them out into the garden. So let me get to work. I'm burning daylight. Alright guys, so I took it out of the box. The box comes looking like this. Now, I'm going to show you one thing that you're going to need is to keep track of that SKU number. because that's something you're going to need. And I'm going to show you why. If you don't remember it, I remember what I bought, but you're going to see it on the instructions. So just remember your SQ number, okay? Once you take it out of the box, this is actually what we're looking at. So this is very similar. Like I said, this is a smaller, smaller. Whoa, Mike. This is a larger version of this. So if you think of it, right, you see the connections here, right? We got the metal piping. We got virtually, literally the same plastic components made by the same company. But now, instead of a cage for my tomatoes or my peppers, which actually is funny because they're better for my indeterminate tomatoes that are a vine, because the peppers are like determinate tomatoes. They're, you know, they're meant to stand on their own. So you could literally see just a bigger version of those same pieces, which is nice. It's literally nice and easy to put together. This does just something off to the side. So it comes in a bag. So when you take it actually out of the bag and you lay it out, this is what's inside your bag. So you have your netting that's tied up here, and you have two different size poles. You have instructions, and then you also have these. Now these are the ground stake anchors, and that's kind of what I was showing with the two different ones, is that the ones that I use in the grass, you could see they're pointed and they're a little shorter. So I'll try hammering these in without a point, but don't know if it's going to work or not. But if it works, great. If it doesn't work, it is what it is. But I don't know, maybe I'll start them with those and then stick those in behind. So I have them laid out for the beds. Now if you're really interested in watching that, I'll be filming that as well. If you don't want to watch it, just fast forward through that section to when they're done. So what I was getting at was, when you first get your instructions and you're looking at your instruction manual, which is very nice, very clear and very straight to the point, they have every one that you could buy. So they have all the different models in here, and it's literally listed like this. This thing is like very idiot proof. Once you look at it, and it's great too, because it shows, okay, the cover, G is for the long poles, F is for the short ones, A, C, stakes, carry bag. And then each one has different ones depending on what you're looking at. So you're like, okay, it goes like that, and then it goes like that, and then like that. Same thing if you're building that one. If you're building the one that I bought, which is this one here. Now remember I said make sure you remember that SQ number, your SKU number, SKU. See, it says PG PC001GR-3. You go to your manual, you're looking for your model number, your SKU number. There it is, PG PC001GR-3. So I know this is the one that I'm going to be building from the kit that was sent to me. Now I ordered this one. The size is 49 by 49, which is over 4 feet. Just a little shy over 4 feet. Because 4 feet is 48 inches. So it's a little shy over 4 feet is what I wanted. And it's 72.8 inches, which I think was like a little over 6 feet, if I'm not mistaken either. Because it's going from the ground up. So because these are very good if you have something on the ground, I have stuff that's already waist high for me. So waist high for me, I would say, is probably like around 3 feet-ish. So I need something that's another 3 feet on top of it. Now, of course, you know, if I was able to get something that was 8 feet, it would have been better. But I'll settle with what I can get. Plus, I liked the way it looked, and it looked very simple, and it was very affordable. And that goes into another thing I'm going to tell you that's funny. So, it shows you this one, it will show you this one, it'll show you that one. And it's cool that it actually shows you it, because if you want, it's a pretty smart marketing technique. And then they show you how to open up the cover. If you were to buy one of their products and you're like, wow, this is pretty cool, I wonder what else they have it in the manual. So you can look at the manual and go, you know what, I like that too. You know, you look at this one with the curved top and you're like, wow, it's 98 by 49 by 72. Holy shit, that's pretty big. Once you start doing the math on it. So it's not bad. So then it'll show you also here how to store products. And then on the back side of it, it shows you what they look like when they're done. So the one we're going to be building is this one right here. You know that? Cool, right? So that I'm going to do. So I said if anybody wants to watch it, watch the video. If not, you can just fast forward through the next part. Alright. So let's see. We're going to start this off. I'm trying to find a place to stick it. It's always the fun part, trying to figure out where to stick my phone. I'll put it on top of the truck. Oh, you know what? It's funny. I bought a camera stand. I should really be using that. Let me grab that. So, after all these years of filming, holding my phone, I finally broke down and bought myself a camera stand for my phone. So, I'm actually putting that together right now. And then we're going to get to filming of the bed. But so far, this thing's pretty great. Kind of idiot-proof, too. Stick that there. Lighten it. Well, I like to hold my phone upright because it pisses people off on the internet. Do that, and then I could just hit like the clip here, and I could bring it down like such. So then now I could take you guys, and I could stick you in here, in the grips of it. Like such. It's a heavy phone too. I'm like, oh, it's gonna fall. And then I could adjust you guys to where I want you. So I could raise you. Minor issue. The button for the take the flashlight was suppressed hard, so it was like fighting that. Only thing is, my phone is like really heavy, and the legs on this thing don't go out that far, so you're gonna fall over. Exhibit A. So. But it does give me the option of making things a little easier for myself. Somehow. I don't have to like balance you behind the bird feeder. Anyway, let's get to building. So the first thing we're going to take off is we're going to do the bottom. So A is the 3 ways, which are these pieces here. And they're corner to corner to corner. Then we're going to need is F, which is the short ones, and then we're going to need the straightaways, which are these ones that connect them. So F is the short ones, which are over on this side. So I'm just going to connect them together like such, and I'm going to need 2 sets of them for the front, back, and side to side. Maybe I'll stick you guys somewhere else. Let's see. Let me try sticking you here. Let's see what I'm doing from on that side right here. It's gonna be a learning curve with this thing. Okay. So we take our straightaway and put it in like that. This is our connecting piece. Make sure it kind of has like a click sound. See if you guys could hear this. I'm gonna stay quiet. We're gonna get close to the microphone. That one really didn't make the sound, but you'll feel like a force when you put it together. Now, that one clicked, of course. Did you kind of hear it? Okay. So now that we got the 4 of them that we need just for the bottom. Mosquitoes like to bite me in my areas. Now we're going to put the bottom together. So, like that. Like that. You don't put it on the ground, it's a lot faster. Note to self. Bend over 80 million times. This one here. The other one in there as well. That one she goes in a bottle of rum. This is great. I'm gonna try to hold the camera. I just gotta try to balance so it doesn't fall over. Which is what I normally do, but now with a tripod, I could adjust the height, which is great. I know I've been living in the Stone Age. Trust me, eventually I get a microphone and some lights, and I'll be actually doing it on a real camera. Till then, I'll use my phone. Alright, so now we got our platform. So now we could do two things here. We can either build it up and then carry it and drop it, or we can now place it behind the bed, line everything up, and then drop it. A couple different options. So if I put it behind the bed, or where it's going to go, let's see where it's going to go. Exactly what that means. So now with the placement of it, you could see that if I do it this way, you could see that I can now build it in the framing of where I'm standing, instead of building it where it's on the ground and then I lift it up and put it on top. Now it doesn't matter, you could do it either way. But let's try it this way, because then this will give you an idea of what it looks like as you're making it. And of course, this whole thing is going to get anchored down, and the whole thing itself is going to stay up year round. The only thing, like I said, that comes off is the netting. And honestly, I'm not going to need any of these bags. This is if you take it apart and you stick it someplace else. I mean, I don't know who would be doing that. That's, to me, that's, well, I guess if it's in your yard temp, yeah, but then just leave it together and just take the net off. I don't know, man. Alright, the next stage. Now that we did that, now we're going to be going up. So going up shows that it's basically the bottom and the top are the same. So what we could do right now is we could actually make the top section, which is just remaking the bottom, so that's all one piece, if you follow me, because then the sides are all like that. Now if we do one top piece, then it's going to be hard kind of juggling it, it's going to be bouncing around. But we're going to just do it separate for now, like the instruction says. So there's G, which on here is the long ones, and E is the ones that are, they're like straight, that are coming out. So you got these T's too, and these T's are literally only for the front entrance. You can see the back actually has a bar that goes across. So these ones are the ones that go here in the front, because the front is open. So the big ones, which are the big poles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is the big guys, those go up and down, and the small guys go side to side. So if I look at it, I go, okay, I got two big, I got two big, I got two of these, which is all I have is two of these, that are going to go there, okay, and then the top section will then connect as well. Now of course it's going to be a little pulley back and forth, but let's get this cranking here. And then it's showing you like the side here, and you're looking at the side and you're like, well, there's no numbers on it. Well, it's the same down here. So F, C, and F is the same for this whole section down here. Okay. Now that I've lost it. And then this one here, if you see me doing the ones in the back, this goes like this. So this goes one way, this goes the other way, and that goes up. Self-explanatory. At least I hope so. And they literally give you the exact amount. So I was starting to do just now just to see if I had any extra. Oh, no extra. So if you start building it and you're missing parts, it's probably because you did something stupid. Usually what it is. Now, here's the funny part is, it's a little tough to get into the back pieces because the bed and the tree is there. But I have the ability to call it, it's called walk around. Walk around to the other side. Come on, walk around to the other side. Walk around. I would say this thing isn't something like sturdy enough to stand on, but so far I'm liking the way it is. It's going together very easily. Like that. Voila. So now we did that. That's got to be the easy part. The hard part's probably going to be coming down to the netting. So I'm not putting the anchors in until I'm done. And the reason why is because I'm not sure what it takes to put the cover on. Well, let's grab our cover. So here's our cover. And it comes with a manual for this one. It's cool. I can stand next to the phone. So it's telling me every little thing under the sun. Yada, 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 yada. This is how it looks. So it looks like there is straps. So I'd have to strap it to the bottom before I decide to anchor this down, if I want to anchor it. Yep, so you can see like there's a zipper. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, it literally goes over. It doesn't look like it has anything down below. So unfortunately, because where this is sitting, it is not 100% on the ground. It is because of the elevation of the ground and also the irrigation. Now I could take the irrigation off and I could run it over this and put the netting with the netting on top. I got to see what it looks like with the netting. If there's an opening that I could stick the hose in, because the structure is going to be permanent. Originally, the whole structure that I originally was going to put on here wasn't permanent. It was literally like almost like a tent. So that's why I had thought about like, well, I'll just put the hoses on the ground and things will go over it. So things kind of change as you go along when you're doing something like this. Now a lot of people are going to ask me the same question. Well, you know, Mike, I have this, that, and the other, and it works great for me. That's cool. It works great for you. Whatever you like doing, make sure that it works great for you. I'm doing this because I want to make my life easier, a little bit cleaner, more organized, more neat. And I really don't need to have this giant growing space where I'm growing 25 tomato plants. Last year I grew 150 tomato plants. I had like 45 cucumber plants. I had 4 pepper plants. I had 8 million cucamelons all over the place. I had cabbage and lettuce and kale and broccoli and, holy crap, not broccoli, Brussels sprouts, not Brussels sprouts, that's the other one, beets and radishes. I had a ton of stuff, and then at the beginning of the season I had weeds. So so if you're just watching this video now, make sure you watch the other videos leading up to this one, just to see actually how far we've come. So anyway, keep walking. These are when the garbage bales go through. I'm going to walk all the way to the other side of the truck. Alright, so this so obviously we know the zipper goes in front. It's like putting on a pair of pants. Very large pair of pants. Well, I can tell you right now, the bees will not get to me. Holy shit. I'm trying this little stupid way possible. I'm trying to find the corner here, which I think I got it. I would say this part would be easier if we had another person. Just trying to figure out where it is, the entrance. Or, like laying it down. It's almost what I'm thinking about. What if I lay it on its side, and then I feed it over it, and then I lift it back up? That might be an option. Let's find the opening here. Show up with that. Because honestly, at 5'9", I'm vertically challenged to do this the right way. So if I take this and get the zipper on the ground, because that's our first starting off with this thing, is we have the zipper part on the ground. Then I can literally tilt this thing like such where I need it. This is super light. So I'm going to tilt it like this. And find the section for the zipper. Push it back. There. Now I can work with it. I know I'm kind of off camera right now, but now I can work with it. Now I can lift it on. If I grab the right side, I don't have to. Why didn't you say we were supposed to start? You're the front. So there's always one part that's going to be hard. This is it right here. Just trying to get the netting on. Laying it on its side where I put the face of it, so I laid it down where the opening is laying on the side where the zipper is. So now when I stand it up, I just gotta pull it down. Just pulling it down like a t-shirt, like you're trying to put a sweatshirt on. So now, because it's all nice and tight together, it's all one nice piece, light, I can now put it back the way that I want it, right, like such. Now, all I gotta do is just go through, carefully pull it down. We don't tear it, we don't grab it on anything and rip it. It's gonna get shifted a little bit. Exactly, in the right spot. Fix that little grip at the corners. See how the corners go. Yeah, pretty great. So we got a corner. Just like that. Look at that. Nice, right? Ooh. Now, I could pull it out again. And what I could do now is I could pull it out again, and then I could tie it to where I need to. Talk about that section. I pull this down. And then it's got a zipper on it. Zipper right here. So I could do this. It's funny how the zipper sounds like a capper. And now I can tie it on the inside. Maybe it was a capper the whole time. Alright. So now this will offer a nice small amount of shade, but it also allows the air to go through it, it allows the rain to go through it, and what it does, it stops the birds from getting into it, because the birds will get into my berries. And that was easy. That was simple enough to do it. It took 21 minutes. I'm looking at the phone right now. It's 21 minutes to do all of that. 20 minutes and 34 seconds. Winging it half the time. Now we had talked about the anchors. So the anchors. Now, it gets windy enough. I could see this thing definitely rocking and rolling. So if we take the anchors and we put the anchors down in the grass, it's very hard with these flat bottoms to penetrate. So I'll take one of my pointy ones, the ones that are pointed, and I'll try to start like an opening. Stick these in the same spot. Like that. And I popped it down. Now that is just one. It'll still move around, but it will help keep it. So I'm going to put the rest of those in, build the rest of them, and then we'll see what we are from there. Alright guys, so I got all the cages with the nets all installed. Very simple. I didn't pay attention to a few things, so each one is actually sometimes built better than the first one. So I had to relocate the bird feeder because it was in the way, and I had to relocate the water bowl, so I put it over there. I'm going to show you guys something cool as well that I'm going to do. How to add a automatic watering to it for literally the parts are used for the sprinkler system. So basically the bottom gets tied as well. It comes with 4 anchors. After a couple of hard whacking, I was actually able to get it to puncture the artificial turf and also the weed fabric too, and it just kind of locks it in. Now of course at the end of the year of the seasons, I'm gonna have to take out the staples, because it's easier if you lift the whole unit up and you untie everything, you peel it off, and then when you put it back on, it's easy if you lay it down with the zippers on the ground, you run the fabric over it, and then you lift it up and you put it on top. And then these things are super light. I literally was lifting this thing and I think it weighed maybe 5-10 pounds at the most, maybe not even. But it's nice now because not only are they still getting light, they're still getting water from obviously the system, they're also still getting water from the rain. It breathes versus the ones that are plastic, so it's not going to get the greenhouse effect. They look nice. It kind of looks kind of funny adding them in here because, you know, now there's these square little cages. But what's great about it is I know that it's going to keep the birds out. So now I know that my blueberries, my strawberries, my raspberries, and my cranberries, and my well, I already said strawberries, are not going to get eaten. This is only for my mother and I and whoever else as well that I harvest it for or give to, etc., etc., or come by and they want stuff. So I know it's all protected. I don't have to worry about the birds now getting to it. It actually came out really good. I know it kind of squished up the cherry tree a little bit, but cherry tree is fine. If it comes down to where I feel like the cherry tree can actually rip the fabric, I'm just going to cut those branches back so that the cherry tree actually branches out away from the threesome, so it doesn't do any damage to it at all. I had to relocate the sprinkler head because it was in a pinch point where the sprinkler head actually sat back here. So I had to move it further back, and I put an extension on it so it could water and do its thing. I turned on the water, I reset the spray amount and the distance, so that's all nice and good to go. I like the way they came out. I think these things are really cool. To be honest with you, like I said, I could actually make the tree branch out this way as well, just by trimming it and so forth. And then it's nice with the big zipper door opening. It's got 2 zippers, so I have them at the top. I zipper it down. I walk in. There's plenty of room for me to do stuff, and I zipper it closed. And while I was in there, I felt a little warmer than I'm on the outside because obviously there's a little less of the constant ventilation, but there is still ventilation in there. And you can kind of tell with like the way these roofs are, where they kind of like sag the tops of it. That's why you really don't want this thing set up in winter, especially if you have snow. Now, if you're in an area where you don't have to worry about snow, you could literally leave this thing up probably year-round. You would just have to watch out for strong winds. That's why the anchoring system works good. But right now, I won't know until we actually have some strong winds on how much they can actually handle. So we're going to find that out. So I bought these from Amazon. Now, you're going to find the exact same ones at Walmart. And I didn't know Walmart sold them. Walmart sells them for about $130, which you look at it and go, well, you know, it's not bad, it's a little pricey, but I found them on Amazon for 79 bucks, so go figure. Usually Walmart's cheaper than Amazon, but sometimes you get lucky where Amazon is cheaper than Walmart. And it's the exact same kit, right down to the SKU number, right down to the size, everything. It was really funny. So I would say buy it from Amazon, don't buy it from Walmart. It actually came faster than Walmart would have been able to send them to me. So I got 3 of those guys. So now I'm going to transition over. I'm going to show you how I do my automatic watering for my bird bath by tapping into a line is part of the existing watering system. I did it in my front yard. I'm going to do it in my backyard. I'm going to show you guys that. And that'll wrap up doing this. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be making the bed. So it's going to be a raised bed for my corn. So I'm going to show you guys what that takes to do that. Alright guys, so how do we do a automatic watering system without going crazy? Well, we're going to need a couple things. So we have an existing sprinkler line, you can see there that's running. We're going to need one of these, which is the regular spray head. You got your on and off here. You're going to need a stopper at the end of it. It's going to stop it. You're not connecting the line anywhere, because what we're doing is we're branching off. We're not we're not adding into the connection of the line, we're actually branching off. So this is going to be the end of the line for this spot. So I'm going to be putting it back here like such. Next thing you're going to need too is a spray head. You're going to also need a 3-way connection. This allows you to tap into the line and branch off. Put that down there with 2 pieces, one up there. We're going to need some zip ties to make the installment a little easier, a little bit more secure. And we're going to need some type of a cutting tool. Now you could use WORKPRO, or you could use any type of pipe cutter for irrigation. You want something that has a nice saddle and a nice little blade on it, so that when you squeeze it, it makes a nice clean cut versus using a pair of scissors. So let's start off. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to tap into our line. Now we know that, and also we're going to need line as well, which we have behind us. We know that there's a threshold here. So your hose is going to go up to about here and here. So if you cut it straight down the center, it's going to have a lot of extra hose. Now you could have a little extra hose, it doesn't hurt. You have a little threshold for expanding and contracting, but you also don't want to cut it too short, because then you're trying to get it tight and you're kind of causing some other issues. So I'm going to go down there, we're going to cut it, we're going to piece this in. So you also want to figure out your placement too, where you want to place your branch off. You don't want to place it there, you might. So if you want the hose to come up the back side here, because it's going to sit like this, and I'm going to adjust my spray head on how I want it to spray. I want my piece to kind of come off nice and natural and curve up. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to cut it right here. Now if you do it like this, I have a nice amount of room to give it some leeway. So I actually don't have to trim it. I'll make sure I push it in all the way so it's nice and tight. And also I want to make sure that I angle my branch off so that it's not facing in any direction other than the direction I want the water to flow in. All that does is just puts less stress on your hose, causing kinking. Tighten that down. So now we got that piece in there. So now we're going to grab our extra hose. We'll take our extra hose, we're going to take our locking cap, like we did on that, we're going to attach it to it. Now it's nice and tight. So now we're going to figure out how we want this to sit. So what we're going to do is we're going to push it in to here like such. And what we can do is we can kind of tilt it. Now if we have it facing this way, it's going to be really hard to zip tie it. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to face it this way. Like that. Now why do I have it facing this way when the hose is coming that way and the stopper's here? It's so that it makes it a nice loop into it that I could do like that. So I do that by taking my cutter, I figure out how much I want, I'm going to cut it. That's it for the cutter, that's it for the hose. Now I'm missing one little crucial part, is I need a lockdown nut. So let me grab it. Okay, so now that we got our lockdown nut, which is the same thing we've been using on all the stuff, we're going to take that, we're going to slide it over our hose, we're going to stick it in like such, we're going to screw it down. You might have to pull it out because it is a little tight in there. Such, slide it back in, push it down tight. Now take our zip ties, we're going to try to zip tie this down the best that we can. So luckily with the stopper, there's enough of room that we can actually run the zip tie into, like such. And then we run it with the hose side, we zip tie the hose down. This ensures that it's not going to move around on us, so I can come back here and cut it. Now you're going to notice that this is leaning away from it. So this is going to be spraying into it pretty hard. Now I don't need this extension, it was just on there. I can take the extension off. I can add my spray head, like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop the video because the only way that I can turn the water on and test it and get the angle that I want is by running the program that I can't start when I'm still filming. So give me a second. Okay, so now that we got the water running, and when I turned it on, I actually did end up seeing where the water was coming from, so it was good I didn't spray myself. So I'm going to slowly turn the valve open. So because these spray heads are kind of old, they have a little bit of issues trying to kind of get them the way I want them to spray. When they're brand new, they're great. These things have been around for a while. They've been in the sun and all the weather. They don't go back inside the house. Stuff like this stays out here permanently. So they do have a little bit of, whoa, that was close to my head. Easy there, buddy, fly up. Pull up, pull up. So now it's watering the tree, nice, because I had to fix that. And then it's watering the bird bath. And what's nice is now the bird bath is actually in the shade, so the birds and the squirrels will like that honestly better than the way it was originally when it was in the sun. So the water won't evaporate as quick. The water is going to be nice and cool for them. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, when the beds go off for 5 minutes, we'll top off the water as well for the bird bath, which is nice because it's not that it's another task for you to do that's a pain in the ass, but if you have an automatic watering system and you're gone for a week, you know your bird bath and your plants are all going to get watered because it's programmed as long as the batteries still have battery life in them. Now my other zone in the front is on 20% and it's still doing good, but it did tell me this morning, you're on 20%, you should think about changing it there, Mike. So, and you can see also because these beds were already watered a couple times already, so you can see how much extra water is in them that the plants haven't fully absorbed yet, and it hasn't come out. So I would obviously, if you see the little marker right there, you could see the red on it, how high it is, and that's just a simple action of just pulling out the drain plug like such and draining the bed, because I don't need the bed to be saturated with water completely. But it's only going to take a couple minutes, and it's just going to constantly top that off. So now that we got that done, I'm going to shut the water off, let these two beds drain out because they had a large collection of water in them, as well with the peppers as well, let them drain out completely, and then we'll transition. You can kind of see how it's not coming out the greatest, and that's because, like I said, the spray heads on these things are just worn out, so there'll be a little bit more adjustments here and there. So if I want to come in now with the staples, I could just staple it down here if I need to. And just give it a little pin down there, and then a little staple there. I really don't need to. I didn't really need to do that. But if you needed to pin them down for a specific reason, that's the way to do that. And that's it. Like I said, these beds are pretty full of water, so I don't need to keep watering. So let's transition over to the next fun that we're going to have, and that is our corn bed. All right, we are back outside, obviously by the sound of the plane. So we have about 7.5 bags of organic raised bed mix. We have our metal for our corn bed. It's really cool. It's got a wood grain, but it's got a plastic sheet on it, so it'll take off. Got the parts, got my tools, got the COCO core liners, which you see on top of the beds. That is going to go on the bottom to help keep the soil from draining out from under the raised bed, because it's not going to be perfectly flat on the ground. It's going to be raised up, unfortunately, because where it's going, it's a little wavy, and the ground isn't really the levelest. So I'm going to try to find the best spot as possible. I have a rake for raking out the soil. I have extra sprinkler lines. But one of the things I woke up to this morning was at about 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm in my kitchen grabbing myself a cup of coffee, and I hear this coming out of my garage. The hell is that sound? Well, it turned out that when I opened the door, I had Niagara Falls coming out of my garage, going under the bottom of my garage door, onto my driveway, down the driveway, down to the street. Now, luckily, my garage is pitched, as well as my driveway, and the garage kind of has like a slope in it, so all the water stays away from the walls. That's not the problem. The problem is with these systems, you got to leave your water running 24 hours a day, which is why you want to shut it off when it's cold out, so you don't have freezing of pipes inside your house and having a burst. Luckily, what it turned out to be was it's this. So this connects to your sprinkler, to your spigot up here, and then this connects to the rest of your line, and it broke right here. And it was weird because when I originally put that line in, I made sure it was nice and loose on the ground, and it's been raising for some weird reason. Something happened, and I probably tripped on it yesterday like I did multiple times, and I kind of put a little extra tension on it. And because the water pressure at my house is 100 psi, unfortunately it puts a lot of pressure on it, and any weak spots are going to go. So I shut the water off, I put that on, I turned the water on just a little bit. I still have to test all my sprinkler heads to find out where on the spigot nozzle where it can still spray and water the yard, but it's not cracked all the way open to 100 psi. So that was a fun thing to come out to this morning at 7 o'clock before I even started this. It was literally like, what the hell is that sound? When I opened the door, it looked like Niagara Falls. I was like, oh, crap. But I was glad to see that it was a hose component and not the whole spigot and pipe assembly, because that would have been a disaster as well. So unfortunately, things got wet. And one of the things got wet that I need is a block of COCO core. So I'm going to have to take the wheelbarrow in there to go get what's left of it, because half of it is loose and on the ground, and the other half is still dry. So it's not the end of the world, but it just adds on to the things to do. But I'm not worried about it. That's only going to take a couple minutes once I'm ready to get to that stage. The first stage we got to do is building and assembling of the bed and our placement of it. So originally the placement of this bed was actually going to be right there. The problem is now this sticks out. The bed is 4 foot by 8 foot. This is a great spot with sun. I don't need it up against here because I got to go in and out of here and work on the bed. Luckily, as I'm watching the sun, this shaded spot is actually now starting to become a little sunnier. So that's good. So I'm looking at giving myself a nice little 3-4 foot of room and putting the bed basically like here and then running it that way. Because on that section there that's left open, that is going to be where the 2 trellis beds and the herb bed, that's the stairs, that will be built and put there. So I know that I have to keep that section all the way down open just in case I got to go to the other side of the tree. But the 8 foot by 4 foot raised corn bed will fit here nice and perfect, and the color of it will match the rest of everything else. I was trying to find one that was made of plastic versus metal, but I couldn't find one that was good, that wasn't garbage. This looks pretty nice. The instructions on how to put it together is really good. It's very well informed instructions, just like it's from Plant and Plot. Very big, very easy to read, and all the instructions are very nice, laid out with very legible words of large sizes, and also the photos to go with it as well. So that's very exciting for me, because I really get turned off on when I go to look at instructions and the lettering is so tiny I could barely see it, and there's no photos, and there'll be 3 pages and the first 30 pages are different languages and they're talking about the problems with it. So I like that so far. So I'm going to start assembling this, and then we'll get it over there. So I left that spot open. I parked my army truck off to the side where I call it my little loading dock spot, where I usually park it to begin with. I only started parking it on top of the lawn just because it was easier bringing stuff in. But as we wind down towards the end of this project, I'm not going to be going up on there with the truck as much as I used to, and probably not at all with the placement of that bed. So truck's not going to be going up there anymore. It's going to stay in our little loading dock spot over here where I can work out of the back of it. Plus it's in the shade, so I can work in the shade and I'm not in the sun. And because this truck is on a 5-inch lift with 37-inch Humvee tires, it's nice that the tailgate is crotch high instead of nipple high right now. So you find little things that are great when you're 5'9". Anyway, so let's get to doing this. Okay, I hope everybody's as excited as I am. So let's go to the manual. We're going to do this. I'm going to show you the manual, and I'm going to show you some other cool stuff that comes with it. So the first thing on the manual is we are going to be looking at is your list of hardware. Now it says wear shoe protection and wear gloves. We don't follow the safety rules. We die like men. So we're going to be connecting the corner to a panel. I got it all laid out. And then what you're going to be doing is there is 3 prongs that you push down, and then there's a nut and bolt. Don't worry, it comes with a tool. And then some cool stuff. Then you're going to put on the other piece. So you're making 4 of the bottoms, the 2 sides with the corner. On the next page, you're now taking the 2 corner sections and you're connecting them together. Now we're making the width of our bed. Okay, so when you're done, it looks like that. Then you go to the next stage, where you're now connecting 2 straight panels to the ends. So you're going to have a corral like that. Once you have your corral done, they tell you to add the wiring. Now the wiring is to keep it tight together. I'm going to avoid that because I have to put corn in there, and I don't really want to be playing with the wiring if I don't need to. But if I need to, I'll go and grab them. They're in my garage. So this is how it would look once you have all the wiring and stuff in there. Oops, that's this one here. Then you're putting the caps on, the little plastic caps. And then this tells you the layering of how you could put the soil inside your bed. Pretty cool. But we're not done yet. I'm going to grab a rubber mallet, just in case, for getting the pieces of metal tab down, if I can't push them with my finger. Of course, I'll be working in the sun. Now, a really cool thing where a company really thinks about stuff is they supply you with a little plastic tray with all your stuff in little baggies, and you could separate your bolts from your nuts. So the nuts have like a nice little handle on them, like such, and it supplies you with an Allen key, which is phenomenal. But if you have a kit like I have, or any kind of other tool kit, it makes it a little easier, because after a while holding an Allen key with your hand, it could be really annoying on your hand. So this is where a toolkit comes in that I've had for years. Now I don't know how to pronounce it, but we're going to just say that it's called Arkoma. It is multiple screwdrivers that have torque head bits on them. And they're magnetic. And it comes with multiple sizes. And we're looking at a size of T5 to as big as a T40 is our biggest. So what we're going to need is actually a T15, which is this, the Torque 15. And it's nice on your hands. Now you don't have to buy a kit like this for this, but I had bought this kit for my square bodies, because a lot of stuff in my square bodies is torque heads. And this is nice when it's magnetic, when you're working on like the dashboard in a weird position and your fingers are too fat to hold the tiny little screw in. It stays on this. You can slide it in your hole, you can screw it and keep moving on. So this I'm going to be using over the wrench, because over the Allen key, because this is going to work a lot easier for my hands. Safety first. Take your focus off. Now I'm going to leave the plastic on. I'm not going to take it off, but we're going to leave it on. Got our water, because we're going to be in the sun. So now I'm looking at my pieces here. You can see that where the tabs are facing. In case you're wondering, the metal's very hot right now. Put it in with the metal tab facing down, and you can actually just push it with your finger. It's really not that hard. We put our nut on the outside, our bolt on the outside, our nut on the inside. Together really nice. Tighten it down. I spoke too soon. And in case you're wondering, I have not found a sharp edge yet. But knowing me, the way I get hurt, I'll find one. Don't you worry, I'll find one. Ooh, it's hot. And it is magnetic, in case you're wondering. So these aren't aluminum, they're like galvanized steel, because they are a little magnetic, in case you're wondering. Now I should really start building it this way. Ooh, that's bad. might have to flip your tabs up a little bit just to get them into the hole. Once you get it in the hole, then you put them back down. Hey, don't do it all up. Back it. It's nice working on the grass. It's nice and comfortable, and I can see the hard work. And actually, I really didn't need the rubber mallet. Put that over there. Here. Now you're going to notice, as you go along, as I'm starting to realize, not all pieces are created equal. So none of them are universal to each other. So you got to find the one that has the angle that you need, because the tabs have to go down. You can see them. So like that one, the tabs are facing up for that corner. I need it like this because there's tabs on there that are going to go into here going down, and then this will go down onto the next section. So theoretically, having it all laid out like I have it laid out is not ideal, because I have to play go fish for the part I need. Not the end of the world, but just let you know, if you lay it out like I did, you're gonna have to go forwards for your next parts. But as you can see right here, that's pretty easy. I'm gonna stop the video because I'm gonna be taking breaks, because I'm not gonna lie, even though it's about 75, I'm in direct sunlight with very little air flow. There's a little air, but not a lot. So I'm going to be taking my breaks, which you don't need to see me sitting on a bucket singing Kumbaya. Alright, so we're back. So now you can see we got the bed built. I built the bed, I took a break, I went and grabbed and scraped the COCO core out of the floor of the garage. Closed up the drains on the beds because I forgot they're kind of open. It was super hot sitting there doing it, I'm not going to lie. So one of the things I realized was why they want you to follow the instructions. Just makes it easier because it stays up, it stops from falling over and possibly twisting. But I was able to kind of wing it along. You know, as I went along, I made the long sections and then swooped my way back, which was perfect for me because I wasn't constantly facing the sun and I didn't really actually have to move it. So now it's built, it's in place. I don't have the cables on it, and the cables are literally just to make it stronger so it doesn't bow out. If it comes down to where I am going to possibly need them, they do crisscross. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to get down there, so we're going to try to do this without having it bow outwards, of course, but nothing's ever perfect. So now becomes the fun part. Now it's about 12 o'clock now. It's starting to get a little warmer out. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit, so that's nice. So now I'm going to lift the bed up and I'm going to waddle it over to where I want. And if you could see now, if I flip you guys, I'll put you guys actually back here. Should be better. There we go. Now you could see this whole section that was shaded earlier today has sun on it, and I started seeing the sun start coming over into this area around 11:30. So that's good. So we don't have a lot of the morning sun, but we have a lot of the midday sun, and it's probably going to stretch like that for quite some time. So I'm going to pick the bed up, I'm going to waddle it over, put it where I want it, and then I'm going to come in and backfill it with the COCO core, the soil and stuff, but I also got to put down the liner too. pour all of that. Not bad. So that actually fits nice right where it is, and the line just reaches, which is perfect. I have a little extra line left over, which is great. So now the next thing is I'm going to take the COCO core liner, which is this, and what I'm going to do with that, it's nice with the stand, is I can keep you in the shade. So with the COCO core liner, I'm going to lay it down in there and cut it to fit, and then I can start putting my soil on top. And like I said, all this is going to really do is help stop the soil from going out from under the bed. Now, ironically, it is probably the most levelest section of the concrete that I found, because it sits pretty nice on it already. So it's great because it's got the bottom of it is the weed fabric, then it's got the artificial turf, and then it's going to get this. So it's going to get nice 3-layer protection from the weeds and stuff down below. Plus it's going to keep the soil from running out into the lawn. All this entails is literally laying it out. Now I'm going to fold up against the metal about this high. I really don't have enough to lay down the rest of it. I'm going to leave this curlicue for something else. That over there. Whew. A little warmer. Nothing like it was on the 100 degree days, huh? Nothing like that. It's getting warmer though. Now you don't need anything fancy to cut it. I'm just using a kitchen scissor that I bought. That's by Mad Shark. Spring loaded, so it's always opens. It's a little latch on it. It's meant for only in the kitchen, but I like how sharp it is and how easy I can hold it. Works like a weapon if I want to punch a tree. Don't say that, Mike. All right, so now we got that in there. Now I'm going to work on the COCO core. I got to get it wet. It's almost wet. So I'm going to lay that out in there. And then we'll start laying out the bags of soil. And then I'm going to find out actually how much do I need. And then when we're done with the soil, then it comes down to putting in the sprinkler system. And then when that's done, then we're taking COCO core sheets, some more of them, and then we're laying it on top of that soil. And that's how it's going to sit for the rest of the season, because I'm not planting corn until next year. But we get the bed ready to go, so that in the springtime, when I got my corn growing in my pods, I could just come out here and fill the bed and then have fun with it. And that's it. So, all right, let's get to dropping some soil. Okay, so after I threw out the COCO core on it, it was a little bit of a dusting, for a better lack of words. But this right now is 8 bags of the 1 cubic foot back to bare roots organic raised bed mix. So I did 4 bags on one side, 4 on the other, and then I raked it out. So I'm going to need to do at least another 8 more bags, or maybe even 12 bags. I'm not sure yet, because we are going to top dress it like I normally do with the Kellogg's, which are 2 cubic feet each. So it's getting the same pattern that everybody else is getting. So I'm going to do another 8 bags. I'm going to rake it out. We're going to see what 8 bags look like from there. And if I need more of it, I'll grab more of it. If not, we'll top dress it with the Kellogg's, and then we could start running our sprinkler system and then our COCO sheet, and then that's going to be it for this week's video. Last week was too freaking hot to work outside, so last week was the heat or the smoke, one or the other. Between the Canada wildfires and the 100-degree temperatures, I'm not working out here. It's too hot. So I'm going to grab 8 more bags, drop them, let's see what they look like. Alright, so this is what we got after dropping another 8 bags of the back to bare roots, 1 cubic foot each, raking it out. So we're getting up to the height that I like. I don't want it super high. I want there to be enough of a lip on top, so it helps keep the fabric down for winter and for non-usage as well. So what I got left is I ended up grabbing 2 more bags of the back to bare roots from the pallet, and I'm going to put down the 2 bags of the back to bare roots. On top of that, I'm going to spread them out, and then I'm going to put down 2 bags of the Kellogg raised bed, and each of those bags are 2 cubic feet each. So that will actually come out to another 8 bags if you put it into perspective of that way, because each back to bare roots is 1 cubic foot, and then the Kellogg's are 2 cubic foot each, which will come out to, I was wrong, I did my math wrong, is actually another 4 bags, not 8. So 4 bags is better than 8, because I don't want it too high. So it'll be another 4 bags I'm going to put in there, fill it in, and then the next is laying out the sprinkler lines and showing you guys how I set that up on the tailgate of the truck, going by the parts that I have, making sure that I have what I need is with me. And I'm going to do a water grid system where it's going to actually have 3 lines that run from there back that are going to be stapled in, of course, so they don't move. And then from there we'll lay the COCO core sheet on top of it, and I'm thinking about maybe stapling it in. Hopefully I don't pierce the hose lines, that would really suck. And then basically clean up, that's it, put the video together and post it, and you guys will be watching. So let's see what it looks like with another 4 bags. Alright, so I laid down the the 2 bags of the back to bare roots, 1 cubic foot each, and I laid down the 2 bags of 2 cubic foot each of the Kellogg's. You can see that it is kind of bowing out a little bit, starting to look like a canoe. It's not pushed up against it, it's just up against it enough. So I do have the strings. I'm thinking about doing possibly is let it settle. I'm going to get the sprinkler system obviously installed in it, because that's going to have to lay under the under the strings, and then I'm just going to do the top across from each other. There's 3 of them across, and just kind of tighten them in a little bit, just a little bit, just so that it's not putting too much stress on it. I could see where the strings come into play, like it was in the instructions. The problem is that it would have been hard for me to lay the sheet down because it goes on the bottom as well, so I'm not going to have the bottoms, just the tops. So it's going to be hard for me to do it on the bottoms. And then also running the sprinkler line, it's going to be in the way. So for my way of doing it, I'm doing it without the strings and do the strings last and only the top, just to kind of bring them in a little. But if you want to go and follow it through the instructions, it will work completely perfect for you. I'm just tweaking it because that's what I do with everything I do. I tweak it. But follow the instructions, otherwise you're going to have negative results if something goes wrong, and then you're going to be like, I saw it in a video, this guy did it without strings, the bed collapsed on me 6 months later. Do it the way the instruction says. If you want to tweak it, tweak it. So that's what I'm doing. So now we're going to get into laying out the parts. So bring you over here to the back of the bed. So this is going to be a little complicated, so nobody get lost. So coming from the main line is going to be a T, and the main line is going to come into here, and it's going to branch out to these 2 different sections. There's going to be another T where that line continues through, and this is going to go out into the bed. This is going to go to the next T. The next T is right here. Water goes in, water goes down the bed, but at the end I'm putting a stopper on. This is a little stopper. It stops the water from coming out. As the lines run out, there's going to be this at the end of the line. So the soaker hose is going to go in here, and then this screws off, and it's going to get a stopper. And I'm going to show you like such. So I'm going to unscrew one end, like such, and this is what came with the soaker hose kit. And the stopper is what I had from another kit. They're all universal to each other, these 2 kits. I don't know how. So here's the stopper. I screw it down, make sure it pushed in all the way, tighten it down tight. I want to kind of do this first because it's a little hard. So now this is the end of the line. Soaker hose is in here, this gets screwed down, won't continue any further. Same thing like when it comes to the T's. When it comes to the end of the line, which is this one here on this side, I'm going to push the stopper in, make sure it's nice and tight, and I'm going to screw it back on. So now this is the end of the line, this sits on this side. Same thing with the other T that's on the other side of the line. It's going to get it on a different side, like such. And that ends the end of the line at the top. The top section is going to be green hose going straight across, connecting all the different T's together. And then from the T's running out into the soil is going to be the soaker hose with a line at the end of it. And that's really it. It's very simple, not hard. I'll film it afterwards, just so that you don't have to watch me doing it. It's really simple and easy. It's not really rocket science. I know it might kind of come across as rocket science, but it's really not. Because all you're doing is connecting the pieces together, laying them out there, connecting them. This is what's going to hold the soaker hose down into the soil. And then these, because I didn't have enough those, then I'm going to use the metal staples to keep the green hose in line. That's all I'm really using them for, otherwise they're going to move around on me, so it's the easiest way to do it. This will probably take me as much as 10 minutes at the most. I got the soaker hose out there, I got the green line out there, I got my cutter, I got all my parts laid out. I drop them in the soil, I run my lines, I shoot a video, pack up, and get out of here. And there'll be one more thing before the video is over. Also, I didn't transplant my 2 tomatoes in my greenhouse, I forgot. It's about 1 in the afternoon now. It's a little too late to transplant them. So I'm going to end up actually transplanting them either later today in the late afternoon or tomorrow morning. I might come out early in the morning like I do on my normal Sunday morning checks, and then I'll just transplant the 2 tomatoes, and that's it. I don't need to film it. You guys, everybody should know how to plant tomato plants. It's not hard. So that's that. So let's get back to working. Let's see what I did. Let's take a look at the sprinkler system. All right, it's 124, it's 78 degrees, and we are watering. Looks good. Just had to go readjust the bird bath again and the tree, just because we're running lower water pressure. Plus, we also added on a big section here. So as you can see, the line comes from the jalapeno bed, comes up into a T, and then it splits off into the 3 zones, and then those zones run that whole section. And then the corn would be planted amongst them. So that's where we're at so far. Took about 23 minutes, give or take. I had to put my flip-flops on at one point because it was really getting hot on the grass. It's about 78 degrees right now, and it's a little, ground's definitely hotter. It's kind of the negative with the artificial turf. It actually gets really hot because it's plastic. So it gets pretty hot when you're walking around on it barefoot. Which is why when you put, if it's going around trees, you want to give it some breathing room so you don't cook your trees by accident. But that's where we're at with that. Everybody's getting watered. Everybody's getting a nice efficient amount of watering. Now, of course, it's going to take a little bit longer for this bed to really start absorbing water and stuff to a point where it's going to be great with the corn. But as of right now, this is great right here, and with the corn growing in it, it's going to be beautiful. And what's nice with an 8-foot by 4-foot section is that it limits the amount of corn I can grow, and it allows me to put them a lot closer together. I always do the trick of I go like this, okay? This is one corn plant, this is the other corn plant, and that's how I just go in the soil. And that's a decent amount. You're looking at about 6 to like 8 inches apart is what you want. You could do that, or you could just, you know, over the course of time, you're going to just know how far space them when you're planting them. And if they're within that threshold, you know, if they're 3 or 4 inches apart, they're just going to get really close to each other. They'll fertilize each other a lot better. But this would be good. I can grow like 30 plants in here, just about. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I can keep it all nice and tight. And this is just the corn zone. That's it. So now I'm going to transition over to now laying out the coco coir sheets on top of it. And I'm going to take a quick break before I do that because that was pretty hot sitting in the sun. And I've been drinking water like it's going out of style. So I'm going to drink some water, relax. I can see a little water draining out under the bed, onto the grass. There's going to be a little seepage and stuff, of course. But nothing to really worry about too much. It's not sealed tight on the bottom, so there is going to be a little drainage onto the grass, but it is what it is. I made a little mess on the grass anyway, so I gotta clean up some of my dirt that I made. Other than that, so far we're cranking along pretty good. It's almost 2 o'clock. I'm taking half an hour break, so around 2 o'clock-ish I'll be laying out the, and who knows, I might be out here long enough just to transplant the tomatoes. So, but you gotta take your breaks, because especially when you're in the sun and you're doing this by yourself. Anyway, let's see what happens when I put the cover on. Oh, I am so happy to be done for now. Well, I got it on there. So I used the 2 sheets like I did on the bottom. I had to trim them, and then the 4 little rolls that I had left over, I was able to incorporate them on the top and then staple them down. What a pain in the butt. But my last thing I'm going to do before I'm done, I'm going to do that after this. Well, before I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this on my own without cameras. So these are my tomato plants that I have that I pulled out of my greenhouse, and I carefully separated them because they're in the bag together. And then I'm going to plant them basically down almost this deep, so you guys can get an idea. So you can see how they're kind of like curlicue. This allows me to plant them how I want them, with their natural lean and so on and so forth. But this is what your tomato plant looks like when you pull it out of the ground very carefully, so you don't disturb your roots too much. Of course they are disturbed now because now they're in a different temperature zone and so forth. But I'm going to clean up all the leaves, cut them off here. I'm going to plant it to this depth here. You can see how this is at an angle like this. That's how it was growing inside the raised bed, inside the greenhouse. So I'm going to plant it like this, and all of this from here down is all going to be under. So I'm just going to snip all that away. And same thing like with this one here, how it's growing like that, which is crazy, right? Things are amazing. Do the same thing. I'm going to clean it up, probably get rid of this one here. I might get rid of this one down here as well, and it's going to be planted like that, and all of this is going to be underground. But before, so every week when I'm done, what I do is I come out here and I use I Must Garden. Proper English, isn't it? It's a squirrel repellent. It repels squirrels, chipmunks from digging in flower pots and beds. Now it tells you, it says like it's not usual to apply every other day during the first 2 weeks. You want to reapply after rainfall and watering to keep repellent at its strongest. After the targeted behavior stops, apply every 2 to 3 weeks to maintain control. So I actually did it, yeah, I do it about every 2 weeks. That is true. I actually do it every 2 weeks. I don't put it in the flower pots. I don't put it in the beds. What's in it, in case you guys are wondering, also says not intended to put in bird feeders either. There's garlic, castor oil, lemon oil, white pepper, clove oil, cedar oil, and a bunch of other miscellaneous crap that goes in it as well. So what I do is I take it and I sprinkle it all over the place. So first thing I do is I do the whole concrete surrounding area, and then I sprinkle it around all the beds and everything on the turf. And it smells really good for a while, I'm not going to lie, especially the garlic and the clove. It smells very good. And so far, knock on wood, I've had zero squirrel activity in here because I don't see the straw in the beds getting messed up anymore. I only saw it once or twice, but I haven't seen it since, knock on wood. And I've been using this stuff. I get it from Amazon, and it's, what is it? It's 3 pounds, and it's got a little shaker top on it, like that, so it makes it easy to dispense. Ooh, that smelled really good. It's gonna make me hungry. So I do the whole area, and then in another 2 weeks I'll be laying it down again, and so on and so forth. It works for me. So, but I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's the straw that is also deterring the squirrels from it, and I don't know if it's because of also the COCO core sheets on top. They're not ripping at them. They might be able to get a little bit into it, into like on the sides of it, but like I said, I'm going to put the metal strings in there. Not today, it's hot. So I'm going to plant the tomatoes, and then I'm going to sprinkle this stuff, and then that'll be it. And I hope you guys are liking, subscribe and share it with your friends and family. What was that? This is Mike from Growtopia. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. Hope it inspires people to go out there and do something themselves. And if you have any questions, comment down below. And that's about it. I'm going to wrap up and get out of here and clean up, put on my AC, and get myself a grinder from Jersey Mike's. Anyway guys, this is Mike. Later.